Hi, and welcome back to Age of Noob. Today, we're going to cover the Gurjaras Castle Age unique technology, Kshatriyas. We will of course cover the basics, but most importantly, answering two important questions. When is it worth it to pick up this technology, and at how many units trained do we break even? Well, let's take a deeper look. As mentioned, Kshatriyas is a Castle Age unique technology, so of course, you'll first need to build a castle to research it. It looks deceptively cheap at 200 food and 400 gold, and takes 45 seconds to research. Now, for the sake of our analysis, we can either go with a total face value of 600 resources of 200 food and 400 gold as its cost, or equate 600 food to 400 gold assuming you're the first to sell at the market, and make the assumption that the technology costs 800 food instead. I believe that 400 gold isn't a steep cost and is requested at a time in which you're already very likely heavy on gold to mass train military units. Hence, I will be focusing my calculations based on the total of 600 resources for simplicity. Kshatriyas affects a whole slew of military units, as it decreases the food cost of the spearmen and the militia line at the barracks, the skirmisher and the elephant archer lines at the archer range, the scout, the Shrivamsha rider and the camel lines at the stable, the armored elephant line at the siege workshop, and the chakram thrower and the petard at the castle. Although this does look like a crazy list, the percentage-based decrease in food cost is, of course, stronger for some units than others. Let's take a deeper look. You'll be saving 9 food per spearman and 15 food per militia at the barracks, 6 food per skirmisher and 22 food per elephant archer at the archer range, 20 food per scout, 17 per Shrivamsha rider, and 14 per camel rider at the stable, 32 food per armored elephant at the siege workshop, and 16 food each per chakram thrower and petards alike. To put things into a better perspective, let's also look at it from a payback lens. We'll go through this step by step and eliminate units who don't seem like a good deal to triangulate the best units to train out of the bunch. When we divide the total 600 resources it takes to research Kshatriyas with the amount of food saved per unit, we get the total required units to be trained to pay back the original investment. Starting with the barracks, both the spearmen and the militia line are abysmal. Although the spearmen is the best units in the game and the symbol for Age of Noob, I can't lie to my viewers. You're definitely not going to train 67 of those legends who can't even be upgraded to pikemen. Same idea with the militia line. The Gurjaras miss out on both the champion and the blast furnace upgrades with no other infantry bonuses, so we're definitely not going to research Kshatriyas for infantry units. Moving on to the archer range, a comical 100 skirmishers are required to pay off the initial investment. Although Gurjara's skirmishers are serviceable, we're never going to train 100 of them just to break even, so we're eliminating them as well. The elephant archer unsurprisingly sits at a healthy 27 units to pay back the investment, so we'll keep them for the time being. Moving on to the fantastic stable units of the Gurjaras, we get decent numbers at 30, 35, and 43 for the Scout, Shrivamsha, and the Camel lines respectively. We're keeping all of those units into consideration of course. In the siege workshop, the armored elephant is notorious for its high food cost, so we, quote-unquote, only need to train 19 of them to pay back the investment. Although the food discount on these beefy boys is a great side bonus, we're never going to train 19 of them just to break even, so we will eliminate them as well. In the castle, both the chakram throwers and the petards break even at 38 units. We could argue that 38 units is feasible for the chakram throwers, but it's laughable for the petards, so we will be eliminating them as well. Hence, we're now left with the elephant archer, the scout line, the Shrivamsha rider, the camel line, and the chakram thrower as potentially the ideal units to research Kshatriyas for. To further differentiate between these units, we're going to dig deeper by looking at both training times as well as the total resources required to train the break-even number of units. Here's a quick chart outlining each unit's training time in seconds. The payback times were so abysmal for just one production building, so I skipped that altogether, as it's unrealistic to just have one production building at that stage of the game. Hence, for 2 constantly training production buildings, most units hover around 7 to 9 minutes of payback time, which isn't that great. At 3 production buildings, most of them hover from 5 to 6 minutes, and at 4 production buildings, we see a fantastic 4 to 5 minutes of payback time. Hence, you shouldn't really consider researching Kshatriyas until you have the economy to constantly produce from at least 3 production buildings or more. That said, although there isn't much differentiation between those units from a payback time lens, there is a big difference when we add total resources spent into the analysis. As you can see, this technology is truly tailored for the scout line, as you only need to train 1,800 foods worth of light calves or hussars within 5 minutes to get back your initial investment. The Shrivamsha rider is also not bad at all at roughly 2,600 total resources spent within 4 minutes to pay back the initial investment. The chakram thrower is mediocre at around 3,000 resources, but the camel rider and the elephant archer don't look too good as their high gold cost weighs them down. Now, make no mistake, they aren't mutually exclusive. The camel riders and the elephant archers can still both pay back their investments very quickly if you already have the economy set up to mass produce them as one of your main units in the army. Because realistically, you should have at least one solid gold unit in your army comp anyway. Furthermore, the camel riders or the elephant archers also don't have to pay back the initial investment when the scout line might have already done so in such a short amount of time as one of your trash units. In other words, you still get a ton of value from Kshatriyas for camels and elephants and can pay back the investment quite early. So if you can't afford to spend, say, 4,300 resources worth of camels for your main gold unit in your army, then by all means do so. This analysis only shows which of these viable units has the path of least resistance for payback, but it makes practically no difference if you already have a good gold economy going and are going to invest your gold into camels, elephants, or Shirvamsha riders as a part of your main army anyway. Of course, this also means that it's absolutely a no-brainer to pick up Kshatriyas before you mass-produce Hussars in the late game. Okay, that was a lot of information, so let's summarize what we learned and order the units from best to worst as it relates to the Kshatriyas technology. The scout line is king, as you save a healthy 20 food per unit, need to train only 30 of them worth 1,800 food to pay back the investment, and you can achieve that in roughly only 5 minutes using 4 stables. The second best unit that takes advantage of Kshatriyas is the Shirvamsha rider. 17 food saved per unit, need to train 35 of them worth 2,500 resources for payback, and all achievable in an impressive 4 minutes using 4 stables. The third best unit is the elephant archer. 22 food saved per unit, need to train 27 of them worth 3,700 resources for payback, and achievable in 5 minutes using 4 archery ranges. The fourth best unit is the camel line. 14 food saved per unit, but need to train a whopping 43 of them worth 4,300 resources for payback, and like the others, achievable in 5 minutes using 4 stables. The armored elephant as well as the charkam thrower both get honorable mentions. Although you won't research Kshatriyas for those 2 units specifically, you can enjoy their food discount as a nice side bonus. Every other unit, namely the spearman, the militia line, the skirmisher, and the petard, are either so bad that you shouldn't train them anyway, or they're situationally decent but the food discount is irrelevant in their cases. So, for example, if you really want to feel better about yourself, you can consider the 6 food saved per skirmisher as a tiny late game trash war eco bonus. But will that make a difference? Probably not. Well, that's all you need to know about the Kshatriyas unique technology for the Gurjaras. As a quick update that I will elaborate on in a later video, I will be focusing a bit more on Age of Empires 2 and post more AoE 2 content moving forward. So if you enjoy these type of videos for AoE 2, be sure to like and subscribe to Age of Noob to not miss out. As always, thanks for watching everyone, don't research Kshatriyas too early in the game, and see you all in the next one.